Dr. Raymont Anderson is an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister serving the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore community as our spiritual director. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self development, personal transformation, transmutation, and transfiguration. He has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man and visionary New Thought leader who makes complex metaphysical concepts readily understandable and applicable. His mission is to live, move, and be an active member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, and emancipate people and communities to awaken and empower themselves. ACTIVE is an acronym that stands for authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, empowered. And he continues to live his bliss as a teacher, minister, author, workshop, and seminar facilitator, visual artist, ASL interpreter, ASL performing artist, mentor, father, grandfather, and more. I give you Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah, I'm calling about Tracy Rhymes. Yeah, she's oh, sorry, I'm in service right now. But at your earliest convenience, can y'all find a room for her? Because uh in the words of someone famous, oh no, Tracy, focus. Okay, sorry, I got to do service now. Okay, bye. Hey everybody, what's up? What's happening? So, as you've already heard, whether it's via music, via the morning pre-service meditation, whether it's the in-service spiritual practice, like you've heard that today we are talking about work and what that means yet again. So you may remember if you were with us last week, we had our amazing kitty cat with us, letting us know about this whole work concept. But we're talking about work in a different way today. Today, we're talking about work as it applies to living on purpose. Specifically, we're going to talk about these two concepts related to work. What is your vocation, quote unquote, and what is your calling? Because, see, oftentimes we use these interchangeably. Someone will say, so my vocation is blah, blah, blah. My occupation is blah, blah, blah. My calling is blah, blah, blah. And yet there are times when these, they interweave and they overlap. But if we dig deeper, because what we're talking about is the spiritual truths, the spiritual essence of what this all means, then ultimately it comes down to the point of living your purpose on purpose, consciously living your purpose. Now, I hear you, that for many of us, that whole idea of, but Reverend Ray, I don't know what my purpose is. So pause for a moment and breathe. No, you're not. No, for real. Pause for a moment and breathe. Because this whole idea of purpose, based upon our culture and society, has caused us a great deal of turmoil and confusion because we think purpose is based upon what culture and society have determined or dictated for us, rather than purpose meaning your life has meaning. Whatever gives your life meaning is your purpose. Now you may be saying, but wait, that doesn't help me at all. What gives my life meaning? What is my reason for being? I hear you. And take a breath. Because once again, we are being invited to separate the concept from the construct of our culture and society. Because for as long as we follow that concept, then we are going to be bound by whatever culture and society says. So your purpose is to earn a lot of money. Your purpose is to work by the sweat of your brow. Your purpose is to, right? Because culture and society, it's built on capitalism, the toxic patriarchy, all of this stuff. So your purpose has nothing to do with any of that. Your purpose is where your passion, where your vibrancy comes to life. The most important reason or purpose for someone or something's existence. What makes you smile? What makes you light up? What makes you get up in the morning ready to go? And I don't care if it's Monday morning, Sunday morning, I don't care what day of the week it is. If we are living on purpose and we are living in a way that demonstrates our meaning, then we are excited about the start of a new day. You taking that in? Because I know think about our culture and society. Monday is a day to dread. Oh, it's Monday. Why? Why would you dread Monday but be excited about hump day? Or it's Friday? Or, oh yeah, it's club Saturday. Oh, or it's let us go to church Sunday. Wait a minute. Sue said there's not a spot where God is not. So then that same reverence that we have on Sunday, why would we not have that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? You get my point? When we are living on purpose, when we are living out our meaning, then that reverence, that holiness, that sacredness, that fun, that joyous laughter is brought into every day, every moment of our lives. Now, yes, there are going to be moments. There are going to be moments where we may not necessarily feel it because things are happening, but it's still there. It's always present. Just like electricity. Electricity is always present. This thing called oxygen, this thing called air, these things called hydrogens and oxygen molecule, they're always present. Breathe. In the book 365, Science of Mind, we are invited to understand that there is an inner meaning to everything, and inside to every fact, a hidden cause within every visible effect. This cause is spirit. Now, if you were paying attention, you heard Sue reference this idea during the spiritual practice that divine law mirrors our faith. And oftentimes we think of faith as this holy aspect of our beliefs. But faith, you can have faith in the thing that you fear. You have faith in the thing that you fear, which is why you experience worry. Because worry is a counter use of a life-affirming faith. And if that is what we are doing, then this thing, this law of mind in action, receives that and creates that into a visible effect. We're going to experience where and how we invest and put our energy. So are we doing so consciously based upon meaning and purpose, passion, conscious creation, rather than by default, rather than by the collective mass consciousness? There is an inner meaning to everything and inside to every fact, a hidden cause within every visible effect. And this cause, this first cause, is spirit. Are we in alignment with it? Are we operating with it? Ernest Holmes says, there is a power for good greater than I am, greater than you are, and you can use it. And you've heard me say it very often. I tweak it. There is a power that is infinite goodness itself. And that greatness is incarnating itself as you and I. And that power that it is, we cannot help but to use it because it is all there is. It is always acting upon itself. So the question is, are you embodying it consciously? Breathe. And when we talk about this idea of the call, when the call comes, what call? Where is the call coming from? Well, that's a different question, because part of the question is, regardless of where it comes from, do you answer? When the call comes, okay, let's take, for example, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., pre-civil rights involvement. What called him to become involved? Gandhi was a lawyer before Gandhi became the Gandhi that we all know. What called him into action? What called Mother Teresa into ministry? What called, you got my drift. What is this thing? There is an inner power and presence that is always at work. Once again, this divine power and presence is all there is. It is not an outside anthropomorphic thing tapping on your shoulder. It is that inner, intuitive, loving divinity that is incarnating itself as you. Do you listen? When your intuition calls, do you answer? When inspiration calls, do you answer? Because all of those are the ways that spirit is calling for our own. Imagine for a second that there's a caterpillar. Is there something that calls the caterpillar to become a butterfly? And does the caterpillar have a choice? Hey. Oh, man. Dedra, look, they're calling, the Butterfly Guild is calling me again. They want me to renew my membership and go ahead and metamorphosism, whatever the thing. Hello? No, I'm comfortable with this make and model. No, I don't want to be a butterfly. Nope. Okay, remove me from the list. You don't need to call me. Does a caterpillar have the opportunity, the option to deny? No, because when that nature calls, that metamorphosis calls, it must occur. See, but because we have this conscious mind, we can choose not to answer inspiration. Safi could, now Safi doesn't, but Safi could choose to say, "Oh, I feel a song wanting to be, no, I will not." And we all know Safi will not say, "I will not," when inspiration, when song arises. But we could. I could say, no, I don't want to do ministry anymore. No, I don't want to do art anymore. No, I don't want. I could say no. No, I don't want to do equity and justice work anymore. I could refuse to answer, thereby limiting myself. What did Sue say? No matter the contradictions. No matter the contradictions. Now, the etymology of contradiction is to have an opposition, but it is also a hostility. We oftentimes embody the hostilities of culture and society, thereby contradicting our own desires and our own self-worth. And let's be mindful that the antonym, the opposite of contradiction, is to be steeped in and anchored in that which is true. Breathe that in for a moment. Because this idea, as Thomas Merton invites us, this idea of discovering vocation does not mean scrambling towards some promotion, some financial prize, some brass ring. It does not mean scrambling towards some prize, just always, just beyond my reach, but it is accepting the treasure of true self that I already possess, because that which is the truest nature of me possesses me. There cannot be a separation between what I am and what I am. Because the I am that I am always and forever, as are you. So discovering our vocation is accepting the treasure of your divinity, accepting the truth of your power and presence that you already possess. What we see comes from what we do not see. Through some inner intelligence at work, divine spirit, divine law, the creative process, which knows there is no power other than itself. The Bible references a house divided, right? You cannot serve two masters. Same thing with this idea of faith. Do you have faith in that which is true, or do you have faith in that which is false? Because that which is true knows that it has no opposition. There is no contradiction to that power, that presence, that love. Are you in alignment with that? Are you willing to be in alignment with that? Are you allowing that call to call you forward into your vocation, into your meaning, into your purpose? Vocation, a strong feeling of suitability for a particular work, a particular action or activity. I know it says career, occupation, blah, blah, blah. A strong feeling of suitability, alignment with a particular work, a particular activity, a particular action. Someone's chosen, because you choose your vocation, chosen activity, chosen form of expression that may show up as occupation, as job. However, it is the expression of your own divine self-worth. It is how you show up professionally in your life. Am I a professional Raymont Anderson, or am I operating as an amateur Raymont Anderson? A couple of weeks ago, might have been last week, I don't know. Time does not exist. I referenced this idea that Holmes talks about in the extension study course, where he says Yeshua, Jesus, commanded the law and operated as one who knew his divine authority, not as a scribe. Jesus operated in this level of professionalism. He knew he was a professional Yeshua, a master Christ, not an amateur, not a scribe. Are you? Are you a professional? Are you working to be a professional? Because once again, it already is the truth of your being. Our opportunity is to accept it. So when we talk about this idea of, well, what's my purpose? What is my purpose? Well, let's explore this idea of the circles of purpose. One, what are you paid to do? If you're paid to do anything, but what are you paid to do? Well, what are you passionate about? What do you love to do? Are there things that you are passionate about? What does the world need? And lastly, what are you exceptionally good or great at doing? Because these circles, while oftentimes viewed separately because of our culture and society, our invitation is to Venn diagram them and intersect them and recognize that that place in the center is our purpose. When we can find a place that says, I love to do this, I'm really good at this, the world needs that, and I can get paid for it, and put them together, X marks the spot. Now breathe, because oftentimes this is mistakenly referenced for ikigai, which you heard me or saw referenced on a slide before, the Japanese concept of ikigai. It is not this, right? Ikigai is not the intersection of these things, because ikigai is not necessarily purpose the way we traditionally think of purpose. But ikigai is how you masterfully, beautifully live every day. And therefore, those intersecting places are your reasons. Reasons, because you can have more than one. It is the manner in which you live life fully. You actively pursue and you enjoy what you are doing. You are in, joy, Joy. You are in it. That's ikigai. And yes, you may have several things that bring this to you. The manner in which you are living will change for the better in 4 core areas: your life meaning, your life purpose, life freedom, key word, life freedom, freedom. Did you hear what I said? Freedom and growth. Meaning in your life through your interpersonal connections, your friends, your family, your community, intimate relationships, all of those things, and all of your creative pursuits. All of this is ikigai. You are satisfied. You are content. You are not necessarily striving and working to attain, but I'm content. Now, does that mean I don't continue to? No, because the creative process is ever, ever, ever expanding, but I am content. I do not need to compete with the Joneses. I am content. My own power and presence. And yet I also experience divine discontentment in when I see racism or homophobia or transphobia in the world. My divine discontent moves me into action. My reason for living, my ikigai, moves me into action. You have a sense of purpose. There is something that is mine to do, to contribute to my family, to contribute to the world, to contribute to my employment, my workplace, if I have one, or if I'm retired. Where is that place that I am a beneficial presence and I have something to contribute? You have gratitude. You have an attitude of gratitude. Once again, a true sense of freedom. Freedom and joy in the quote unquote little things and in your practices of your daily rituals. Are you grateful to brush your teeth, to comb your hair for those who have hair? I'm grateful that I have one of those things that I can, cut my hair. Tracy gifted me where I don't have to shave my scalp. I'm grateful for the little things, the opportunity to shave, the opportunity to have a smartphone or a timer to keep me on track so Tracy doesn't have to, ring the gong and let me know you've been talking for 77 minutes. Hush up now. Grateful for the little things, freedom to express your hobbies, your interests, your passions. You are never bored because you always know that there is more that you are called to do. And even during challenging times, those contradictory times that Sue mentioned, even with quote unquote negative or life challenges, those challenges that feel non-life affirming, the death of a loved one, the potential or impending death of a loved one, the loss of a job, all of these things. Today is September 11th, acts of terrorism, all of these things that occur in our world, the contradictory status of the queen made her transition, and yet there are those who are ready to dismantle the colonization of the monarchy and all of the harm that it has done. All of these things exist. And even with all of these challenges, all of these contradictions, all of these paradoxes, all of the pain, all of the grief, all of the sadness, all of the frustration, all of the anger, even with all of it, your ikigai guides us to a life-affirming way of being in the world, because ikigai ultimately lets us know that God is everywhere present. God is all there is all the time. And because that power and presence is present everywhere all the time, present in, through, and as you, your mind, God's mind, your words, God's words, your feelings and emotions, God's feelings and emotions, your actions, God's actions. Then at any moment we get to choose how to steward all of this, our calling, our purpose, our vocation, our occupation, all of this. Because as Ernest Holmes says, God is ever going forth into new expression, new expansive expression. And every word we speak, every thought we think is a furthering in this creative process, this creative activity of God, as God, through God, with God, at the level of our expression, our embodiment of this divinity, our expression of God, our embodiment of God. He goes on to say, the word is not something that speaks itself. There is an intelligence that speaks the word. Therefore, the initial movement of the creative sequence, the creative process, is absolute intelligence. And that absolute intelligence is what is incarnating itself as you. Therefore, you have access to that absolute intelligence. So when you say things like, oh, I'm just not good at balancing my checkbook, are you affirming absolute intelligence? Well, once you reach a certain age, the first thing to go, are you affirming and declaring absolute intelligence? Or are you, as Sue said, are you using your faith, and divine law mirrors, are you using your faith to affirm and declare? Is that what you're using it for? To declare lack? Because the law works. What do we say? It works when you work it. And the law says yes. Divine law mirrors, it receives, it says yes. So when you say, I'm not smart, I'm not good at, I don't have, blah, 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 the law says yes. And creation conspires in some way, shape, or form to mirror back to you what you have declared, what you have spoken as law unto your life. Is that what you want to work in your life? You get to choose. Again, Holmes says, the starting point of all creation is the word of spirit. Now, that word of spirit is your word, your thoughts, your mental equivalent is the word of spirit. The word is the concept, the idea, the image, the thought of God, because there is only one mind. It is the self-knowing mind speaking, expressing itself into manifestation. The word back of everything is this initial cause, is its initial cause. So whatever it is you are thinking, speaking, doing, feeling is playing a part in this. Because when we talk about something calling us to action, we can also call to action. Am I calling the universal law of mind in action? Am I calling it to bring to me lack, scarcity, fear, dread, etc.? My word made flesh. What am I calling when we work? Our occupation. There is something we do in order for there to be something we create or produce. Because, one of the things that our jobs, our occupations is we get evaluated on our productivity. Am I meeting the standards of the occupation? In our lives, am I matching in alignment productivity with what I claim I want to produce or experience in my life? Breathe. The sequence of the creative starts with this absolute intelligence, then the word, then the law, and then the thing. That's the sequence of creative order. Absolute intelligence, the one mind. That mind is your mind. Then the word. What do you say? What do you express? What do you feel? What are you putting into the law, which always says yes? And once it receives demonstration and manifestation, are you in alignment with that process? Because you're always working the process. Breathe. So I mentioned Gandhi before, and these are credited as Gandhi's 7 dangers to human virtue. Wealth without work. Pleasure without conscience. Knowledge without character. Business without ethics. Science without humanity. Religion without, quote unquote, sacrifice, meaning the release of ego, surrendering and releasing and simply being in a state of non-attachment. And politics without principle. Now, I'm going to simply leave this with you as you meditate on and marinate on what this means to have work, to do work, to have conscience, to have character, to be ethical, to be humane, to release and surrender, and to operate based upon principle. Because as W.H. Auden says, you owe it to all of us. You owe it to the world. You owe it to life itself to get on with what you are good at. You owe it to creation itself to express your passion, your bliss, your desires, your deserving. Bring it to the world. That's how we manifest a world that works for all. This week's practice: journal, meditate, contemplate. Are you living the life that you have imagined? 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when you were 5, what did you imagine your life would be like when you were at the age you are now? Are you living that life? If you are, how so? And if not, how would you like to change and live that life now? How would you like to reimagine your life and live that? Number 2, how do you think the world could be different if every person took the internal calls of life more seriously? If everybody listened to their song, if everybody heard that divine inner voice, that divine inner expression, that divine inner love, if everyone listened to it, embraced it, embodied it, and lived it, how might the world be different? And then lastly, have a conversation with 3 people about the meaning of this quote by Henry J.M. Newen. In a world so torn apart by rivalry, anger, and hatred, we have the privileged vocation to be living signs of a love that can bridge all divisions and heal all wounds. And also, the role you and your spiritual community have, the role you play in helping people find their vocation and their voice / the word of creation in their life, and support them in living that into being. Breathe. This week's affirmation declaration, if you feel aligned, say it with me on the second go round. I will say it first. The work of my soul is creating a life that matters, realizing that my life matters. Together, the work of my soul is creating a life that matters. Breathe. Simply anchoring in this moment, recognizing the goodness of all that is as it breathes itself, lives itself, thinks itself, creates itself in, through, and as each and every person here watching live, watching the recording, each and every person, no matter where in the world they are serving or worshiping or meditating or praying or whatever they are working today, that divine goodness is everywhere. It is everyone. It is everything. So in this moment right now, as I recognize that, then I know that the people over in rice paddies, the divinity of God is there. Those people who are building walls and bridges, the divinity of God is there. Those people who are defending water and protecting trees in the Amazon, the divinity of God is there. That no matter where in the world, what in the world, the divinity of God is there. And right here and right now, as we recognize this divinity, the divine law that mirrors back to us is mirroring back to us love, unity, unification, peace, harmony, cooperation, collaboration, communication, justice, equity, food, water, land preservation. And that which is the law says yes. And that divine law mirrors it back to us. And therefore, that is our experience. I name it, I claim it, I receive it, and I expect with absolute certainty that that demonstration is already in the works. It is already manifesting. It is already ours, a world that works for all. And so now, as I surrender this, knowing that the law has done its part, I do mine and move my feet accordingly. For if I have faith in that, then my life must mirror that as well. And it will, and it does, and it is. And so it is, and now it is, and together we say, yes, and so it is. Amen, ashe, Aho. Blessings, love, and appreciation to you all.